I love the fact that it gives me the type of niggas I want. Like, you know, sometimes she want that little thug poet nigga that's gonna try to talk to you. Sometimes you want the little DL thug around the corner that's just trying to come bang you out real quick in the backseat. You know, we know what we want, you know. So Jack, give it to me more.
Next question. Do you feel dating apps are marketed towards Black people of color?
The ones that are driven for like the LGBTQ community, I feel like it is. And if it isn't, I feel like it kind of causes those people who do get in those dating apps to be still driven in that type of environment.
So you definitely feel like sites like Grindr, you get a lot of attention on sites like Grindr and Tinder.
I do. I get a lot of attention on those sites. I think that it exposes people to different, like interracial dating. So I believe that it's helpful in that sense, but I do feel like it's more so targeted towards the Black community because they don't really know how to meet others in public.
And why is that, you think?
From when I would say when I was 18, when I first started exploring the gay community or just exploring dating, there's really nowhere that you can find out about people like you and like meet and date. And the apps are like the easiest way to meet people for whatever purposes that's specific to your sexuality.
Actually, that's a great question. So I had a conversation. I've been on this app with just some friends. It's this app called Bigo. And so it's like random people. I found out that it's actually used for dating as well, but I just use it for social networking. And we had a conversation about dating apps, about how Grindr, well, somebody just brought it up themselves, how Grindr was tailored towards the more high class and Jacked was tailored towards the hood rats. And I felt that offensive because before they said that Grindr was more tailored towards the white and the others. You can take that how you want. And then Jacked is just tailored towards Black men. And me personally, I've never really been a fan of Grindr, just because, like you said, they're high class, so they already look at me as less of them when I have more credentials than most of them. So yeah.
When it comes to dating apps, if I feel that they're targeted towards people of color, I'm kind of indifferent on that. I want to say no, but at the same time, I don't feel like that there is a motive for a particular, ethnicity. Yeah, I find the apps, they're useful because I will say at the end of the day, like most of my realest relationships, most serious relationships came from Jack. Jack, because I really don't really get on the other ones. To answer your question as far as like Grindr and Jack, if they're like aimed at a certain demographic, I would say the people did that. I don't think that the actual app, presented that, just more so like communities flock to where they go.
And you spoke about Jack earlier. Like Jack, would you say, like, how would you describe the app Jack?
It's a pool of gay males that I would say mostly 9 out of 10 usually use it for sex. But it is a social app where you can meet guys. But I do feel like that Jack is very important, all of the social media apps, because a lot of people is like socially awkward or don't know how to approach people. So that makes it a lot easier to actually get yourself out there. So it's kind of like 50-50.
And I heard Jack, a lot of people refer to as like the Black app of all the apps.
Definitely.
And and why do you think that became, why do you think that's adopted that name, like the Black app?
I would want to say just pretty much as far as just like the Black gays before us, because, there was BGC, there was other little apps that came out, but we always heard about was Jacked. And then, like, of course, like the other apps was like advertised on TV and the internet, but we didn't know to go on there. So once we downloaded the app, like, oh, okay, this is another Jacked, you go on there and then you see the demographic that is different. but I don't think that it was aimed for like from the actual people who created the apps. I feel like it was just like the environment and the community.
I would say that I don't think they're not marketed to Black people, but I think that they don't use them as much, just because I think within the Black community, the opinions about like homosexuality aren't the same as opinions outside of the Black community. So I think that a lot of times with like things like TL guys or things like that, they're not interested in being marketed to because they're not interested in being known about. So I feel like because there's this air of secrecy, that it makes it harder for them to want to use apps. I think that is why they're not really part of the equation for the people who are creating the apps.
No, I had never been on a dating app before, so I wouldn't know.
So like no Tinder,
No Tinder, no nothing, no nada.
I do. Especially like, well, I feel like we have some. Like, I feel like Jacked is it's like the Grindr for Black people, you know? But yeah, we have a couple of those like that.
If you want to get into marketing, first of all, let's get into the dating apps because the ones that are most popular is Jacked, Grindr, Grindr DNR. You know, I don't know.
Grindr who?
Grindr DNR, bitch. Oh, you a young gully because Grindr DNR was out back then, okay? But those are the popping ones. You got Growler, shit like that, Moco Space, because I know some of them hoes be on that. But those apps are definitely geared toward like gay people, like gay Black men, because most of those apps pop in the urban areas. However, it's geared toward them, but the people that use those apps are the ones that are not like seeking what we're seeking, aside from just a sexual hookup. So even then, it doesn't get into dating.
So these dating apps are marketed towards Black people, fellas.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What traits do you look for in a guy?
When I meet a guy, I look to see if he knows what he wants as far as us getting to know each other. Like, I like to see where his head is sexually, mentally, you know, goals, career-wise. Try to see if he's an honest person. It's gonna be up front. A lot of people are like, they don't like to be honest. So I look for honesty and yes, I would say those are the most important ones for me.
Okay. So when it comes to guys that I like, the traits that I look for is individuality, confidence, and I love a sense of style. Those are pretty much the same, the main three things that really stands out to me.
Oh my goodness, I need somebody who's very consciously awake and understanding that there is truly a plague amongst Black femmes, Black trans women, and Black GNC folks. And so understanding that what my problems are, what my needs are at the forefront, period. Also, I want a man that's comfortable in himself. You know, that doesn't necessarily have to be masculine, but I want somebody that's going to be cool to walk with me through like the mall and not try to step before me or behind me. Be comfortable enough to go out with me and make me feel like I appreciate it. Like, you know, like make me feel like I'm going to make them feel. I want to feel like the person I'm what I can trust.
So what does fetish mean to you?
I would say fetish has actually evolved to be more than what it simply was in the beginning. It's to me, I know that it's supposed to be